Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast, powered by Healthy Steps Nutrition Mentoring. At HSN, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple, habit-based approach. We know that helping our clients become the best and healthiest versions of themselves isn't just about what they eat or going to the gym a few hours a week. We have to focus on a holistic approach, addressing nutrition, stress management, mindset, sleep, support system, lifestyle, and of course, exercise. HSN Mentoring provides a turnkey solution for gym owners and coaches to build a professional nutrition coaching program in their gym that's guided, tested, and proven, written and backed by registered dietitians. My name is Nicole Coyne. I'm the founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, home of CrossFit HSN and HSN Mentoring. So excited about this week's podcast episode. We are talking all about menopause, how to help our clients reach their health and nutrition related goals. Today's podcast guest is Amanda Haar. She has over a decade worth of experience in helping clients with hormone health and helping them through menopause to reach their health and wellness goals. She has some incredible success stories, some simple things that you can do as a nutrition or a health coach to help your clients that's not necessarily just related to nutrition. This podcast episode is such a popular topic. So many of the Healthy Steps nutrition coaches have questions around hormone health, and more people in general are wanting to know more about their hormone health. So we talk big picture, and then we also talk about a specialty masterclass that we launched back in April for HSN coaches to help dig a little bit deeper into hormone health. We got some feedback. We've done 2 rounds of this masterclass. It's been loads of fun. People at the end of the masterclass are launching a higher ticket hormone health program. So Amanda dives into that a little bit. We talk about not just nutrition, but also stress management, strength training, all the important things that you need to be thinking about when looking at a holistic approach and helping people specifically in menopause. I hope you enjoy this podcast episode with Amanda. Amanda, welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast.
I'm so happy to be here, Nicole.
We're talking about your favorite subject today, hormone health, menopause. You've helped so many people from a client-facing standpoint in this stage of life, help them get through some of the plateaus or some of the struggles that they've had. Typically, people in menopause have a tougher time losing the weight, reaching the goals that they have. Why do you think that is?
Right. And I mean, there's, of course, a multifaceted, and I've heard this from a lot of the coaches who have gone through our hormone masterclass. Like this is one of the trickiest populations to work with. And I agree, it is, right? Because fortunately or unfortunately, hormones control a lot about our brains and our bodies. And when we're going through the phase of perimenopause, which usually kind of gets lumped right into menopause, but it's quite different because we have estrogen soaring up and then crashing and up and then crashing. There's a lot of mental challenges there. Anxiety is very common, which we think about taking steps consistently. If we have anxiety or depression, how easy does taking those steps feel for you, right? Plus, these women are of, 5 or so decades of life or more that they've had certain habits. They might have been through how many different types of diets in the past.
Right.
So and also what has their metabolism been doing throughout the years? So a lot of these things pose challenges. Plus, we see that, when we have low estrogen levels, our cortisol, our stress hormone increases, which also helps to increase our abdominal fat, right? It really is a challenge for our weight gain during this phase. So it is very common for women to gain weight throughout the menopausal years. And so sometimes our clients, when they come in with a goal of like, oh, I want to lose, let's say, 4 pounds a month, like we would typically see. Well, it's possible, but it's probably more realistic to even just like stop gaining weight, right? Like that is a huge success. So I think, one of the ways that we can help clients succeed, even as far as our strategy, is like, how are we helping them set their goals? Are we kind of going with like the standard of what we're typically going to expect from most people, which again, like I've seen it happen with some clients that are postmenopausal. Cool. They've been super consistent. But thinking about all the mindset and the hormonal challenges, like how can we make these goals realistic for them?
You think about when you're working with just general population around the holidays, it's reassessing the goals. Like just like you said, maybe our goal isn't weight loss during the season. It's just maintaining, the work that we've done, the habits that we've created, and looking at non-scale victories as well. How's your sleep? How's your energy level? How's your mood? We know that people that are, going through menopause are struggling with a lot of those things too. So, looking at more of a fuller picture. You've mentioned this before in conversations that we've had, which I thought was really insightful. When you think about people that are going through menopause, a lot of times they're at the height of their like careers, right? So there's a whole nother level of stress that they're dealing with that can cause some challenges when we look at weight loss.
Totally right. Yeah, it might be career stress, maybe even piled onto that. They're taking care of their elderly parents and their own kids are maybe teenagers or going off to
Mm,
college. So they just have, responsibilities in so many directions. And then we think about also like the women who have gone through menopause and are maybe like in the retirement phase of their lives. We may think, oh, you have all the time now to eat right and exercise and cook your food. Like, coming from my perspective, it's like, oh, yay. But really, I mean, they're going out to eat more with friends. They might be traveling for weeks, months at a time. They might be going to visit grandkids, so staying at other
mm.
people's houses. So, really, I find during the stage, a lot of times it's almost like more challenges to consistency rather than less.
That's a really good point. And when you're working with a client as a coach, you need to take in all aspects, not just the perfect little cookie cutter, plan that will work perfectly when they're at home prepping all of their food. You got to take into account all of those things. When we think about working with uh, this population, what are some basic things to start with when coaching them?
Yeah. Well, this has come up in our conversations quite a bit with our masterclass, especially of, the importance of addressing mindset first off.
Mm,
Because I think, especially when women are struggling with symptoms, fatigue, disrupted sleep, maybe they're having hot flashes during daytime or nighttime, the weight gain, their change of their brain and their mindset, they don't even feel like themselves. There can be a lot of what seems like complaining going on and really in kind of this negative cycle as far as their mindset goes. So, we find that, just addressing mindset first off the bat, even before we layer on different nutrition habits or other pillars of health, can be immensely helpful. Because if their
mm,
mind is in the right place to make the changes, they're going to be a lot more successful. And this can come from, simple habits such as, utilizing, I love our positive affirmations resource, for those
mhm.
clients who are like, no, I've never, tried positive affirmations in the morning before. Like, I'm like, okay, here's this resource. Take a look at them and, what stands out for you? And so they'll circle a few that are their favorites. And, it can be life changing because unfortunately, I mean, people might have even had like counseling in the past, but maybe they've never actually thought about what are my thoughts and how can I influence my mindset around it. So that first step can be a huge help in relieving their stress and helping them to think more clearly about their steps forward.
I love that. That positive affirmations sheet is really helpful. If you're an HSN mentoring coach or healthy steps nutrition coach and you're not using it, definitely identify a couple people that you think would really benefit from that and introduce it and see how it goes. Another resource around mindset, that book, Soundtracks by John Acuff. I love that book. That's a great book to help with mindset. And honestly, I think the most impactful thing for me personally with that book is just being in tune with what my thoughts are. Like, okay, this is not kind, this is not helpful. I need to like redirect and go in a different direction. Easy for us to do this with 2 year olds, right? Like, oh, we can distract them super easily. A little bit tougher for us to do it with ourselves, but just becoming aware that this is not true, this is not kind, this is not helpful. I need to stop.
100%. I love how you mentioned the awareness, right? Like if we're aware, we can make a choice with what to do with that, but it doesn't come unless we're aware of it in the first place, which is awesome.
What are some of the other things that you would want to think about beyond just mindset when working with this population?
Yeah. So when we're kind of going into more of like of course, sleep, right? Anything we can do to support sleep is going to be hugely helpful to help our nutrition steps forward. And then really emphasizing adequate protein, because if we
Mm,
can maintain muscle mass during this phase or build muscle mass, that's going to help
mm,
support our metabolism and support our muscle mass that is connected to so many aspects of our longevity and our bone health. After menopause, when women's estrogen is very low, actually lower than a man's regular estrogen level, right? So, a man's level of estrogen is actually higher than a postmenopausal woman unless she's receiving HRT. We need to make sure that we are doing all we can to help with our blood sugar management and maintain our muscle mass. In educating clients on the importance of protein, because again, this population tends to shy away from that depending on what education they've had in the past.
mm.
Um, Building fiber into their meals in order to manage their blood sugar levels, and then also making sure that we're doing strength training, which again with this population can be sometimes very challenging. So really kind of the muscle aspect, muscle being the organ of longevity, is very directly applicable to this population. So we find that when we're doing some things to address muscle maintenance and muscle gain, that's going to be really helpful, because we might see inches fall off faster than we see the pounds, right? Because we're gaining muscle, losing fat. And that's why, proper biometric measurements are really helpful too, because I do find that as far as overall weight goes, typically weight loss tends to be slower in this population. But when we're actually checking into muscle versus fat versus inches lost, we're like, wow, there's more progress than we would have realized if you were just stepping on that scale every day. So those are kind of probably the top things that we want to really recognize with this population.
Most people in general, beyond just this population, do not get enough protein throughout the day. The recommended daily allowance per protein was made many, many years ago and hasn't been updated. And when you look at the newer research around, like Gabrielle Line, for instance, the Forever Strong book is a really great resource. It's double the amount of protein that is recommended from standard recommendations with how much we need to maintain and build muscle, which is really important because as you age, your muscle breaks down. So unless you're doing things to build muscle, it's not going to just happen by sitting on the couch. Like you actually have to do some strength training exercise, which is something that, when you look at a holistic approach to nutrition coaching, you are addressing that as well.
Right, definitely. And you think about too, like for some women, cravings are a really big thing in especially perimenopause. Maybe it lessens in menopause, but for some people it can still persist then. When we have enough protein in our eating pattern, we know that it helps stabilize our blood sugar for 6 hours afterwards, right? And I think about that too. Like when I increase the protein in my eating pattern, I'm like, why am I not hungry 3 hours later? It really makes
Yeah.
a huge difference on our satiety levels. And so, again, like we have, clients using GLP-1 agonists and other medications like that to help curb their appetite. Well, protein, right? Like this is one thing that can help you feel satisfied and not have those cravings throughout the day, which is really powerful. I think, sometimes as coaches, we know, okay, protein is really important, but to see all these direct applications, and especially kind of in the menopausal area, like it could be so, so impactful.
And I think helping people break down, like, here is what the amount of protein that you need per day looks like in a sample eating, a sample day, right? Not telling someone, not giving them a meal plan, hey, you have to eat these certain things, but here's the, like the amount of protein that you need for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When you look at Gabrielle Lyon research and what we recommend, 30 grams of protein for breakfast to start the day off strong, that's a lot of protein for most people. I would venture to say that most people aren't getting that amount. So just starting there, of course, starting with the mindset first, but then starting with making sure that people are pairing protein with every meal and stack. An adequate amount of protein throughout the day is so important. You think of bigger picture, so many people, this is one of the common myths around CrossFit or just fitness in general. They're so worried about getting a protein shake after the workout that's 25 grams, but then they're not getting any other protein throughout the day or just minimal amounts. You're not going to meet the goals that you have for the day to build the muscle that you're working really hard for in the gym. So, big picture, we need to be educating about this overall, but then in a one-on-one setting, what does it really look like? How much protein are you getting throughout the day? And how can we intentionally add protein, high protein snacks so that you can meet the goals that you need for the day?
Love that. That's beautiful. My most successful postmenopausal clients, like she's the one who asked me, she's like, okay, so what does this look like throughout the day? How much should I have like with dinner, breakfast, lunch, and we talk through, what does that look like? What does that look like with palm sizes, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
easy ways for them to be able to gauge so they're not having to track all the time what they're eating. And that's where I love, the option of, with the HSN app for HSN mentors is, kind of the food photo logging. Like we
Right.
love that tool in order to see, as long as we as coaches are educated on what we're looking at,
Yeah.
how much are we getting as far as protein in a day? And that's a kind of a nice direct lens to be able to use when we're utilizing that tool.
I love that. All right, so we talked about big picture. Our listeners have an understanding of how to address some of the basic things with our menopause population. How do you dig deeper in the hormone masterclass? And maybe we should take a pause and talk a little bit about the masterclass. It's been super popular. We launched this 6 week masterclass after our annual event last year, filled it up within a week of launching it with the first round of people in there. And basically, you've created weekly educational videos, but then there's also a weekly call where you guys dive into the stage or the different concepts that you're teaching in the weekly educational video and talk a lot about application client scenarios. How are you digging in with this specific population in the masterclass?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, I love all the resources and everything that we've created for the coaches because they get to kind of like, start hitting the ground running and being able to sell higher, level packages to clients and also help them in a different way before. So we focus actually 2 of the 6 weeks on the menopausal stage
Mm,
because we've actually created a 28-day challenge that specifically focuses on reaching the menopausal population. Because again, this is a population that a lot of coaches have said, okay, I need help with this. So we talk through, specifics of what to look for, what to help, kind of baseline recommendations for clients. Also, perimenopausal and menopausal women who are suffering with different symptoms. We talk about how we can help them work through those symptoms so that they can be more consistent with their habit changes along the way as well. Um,
mm,
Along with that, we have a lot of awesome resources that is really helpful for coaches to understand, for clients to understand why we're telling them what we're telling them, because I think that's really, really important to see consistent changes. The client needs to know why. And then, of course, we have, the 12-week program that can be available for anyone as far as this hormone specialty goes. So we built out a lot of stuff, but it's really cool, like getting into those discussions and those group calls on Thursdays are just amazing because like, it's not only just me talking about what the education is and helping you understand, but it's also these coaches coming together and talking about real life scenarios, things that they have experienced, questions that they have, best practices of bringing something into your gym.
mm.
So I love the fact that it's like exponential when we all come together and talk through these topics together.
I heard something at one point from a mentor of mine. I don't remember who said it, but he said, you have in today's age, you have an opportunity to borrow someone's diploma. And what he meant was like you can learn from everyone else's mistakes and like the trials and the tribulations and the education that they got, but then more importantly, the clinical practice that they have so that you can hit the ground running faster. And this 6 week hormone masterclass, I think, is a perfect example of that with you. You have over 15 years of experience working with this population, a lot of research. Like you are so passionate about this topic that it helps people to be able to use everything that you've learned in your 15 years of experience, pack it down to a 6 week course, but then more importantly, not reinvent the wheel with creating programs and resources and tools to be able to support clients in all stages of their life in relation to hormone health. We've added Dutch testing too for this population. So we do it at our HQ location, but then coaches who have gone through the Hormone Masterclass can refer their clients just to get Dutch testing with us, have interpretation with the RD, and then go back to the coach and work with the coach to facilitate the plan that one of our Healthy Steps Nutrition RDs have created, which is really cool. You guys have done an incredible job with this masterclass. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I want to do this masterclass. I don't know how I missed the boat the first 2 rounds. We do have a wait list now for the one in 2025. We keep it small, 15 to 20 people, all Healthy Steps Nutrition coaches. So you have to go through the basic main course and graduate from that before enrolling in the Hormone Health Masterclass. We want you to understand the foundations of an effective nutrition coach before layering on the more advanced techniques. But if you're interested in this, you're an HSN client, HSN coach, you can click the link in the show notes and we'll have the waitlist information there. We do plan to launch another one early 2025. We are done for 2024 after this one wraps up. It just started last week, but everyone is super excited to be in there and to learn so that they can ultimately hit the ground running so they can make a greater impact with this population and just helping people who want to learn more about their hormones and optimize their hormone health.
Definitely. Yep. Just like you mentioned, Nicole, like this is everything that I would have loved to have a decade ago. So hopefully, those coaches who join it are really able to, yeah, exactly. Just like hit the ground running a lot faster, given the concise information rather than, shooting in the dark. So yeah, I'm excited that we've been able to bring this to coaches and we'll continue to.
Awesome. Amanda, thank you for all that you do. We have quite a few podcasts around hormone health, menopause, on the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast and Nutrition Made Simple. We'll make sure to link some of those in the show notes as well. So if you loved this episode, make sure you check out the other ones related to this topic as well. Amanda, thank you for all that you do, and we'll have you come on again soon.
It's my pleasure, Nicole. Thank you.
Well, that was a fun episode. Gosh, it seems like at least 2 to 3 times a week, I get a question around this from our neighbors, friends, family members, gym members who are going through menopause and just want some additional support, want to understand where they're at with their hormone health. We're super excited to be partnered with Dutch and be a preferred provider for that testing, and our dietitians are interpreting the results. The cool thing with Healthy Steps Nutrition coaches is once they go through that hormone health masterclass, their clients can get the testing with us, and then the coach can facilitate the program and the recommendations that the registered dietitian is recommending. So super excited about that. If you have more questions around hormone health or you want some more information, we are going to go ahead and link a few different podcast episodes around hormone health, menopause that we've done on our sister podcast, Nutrition Made Simple, and then 1 or 2 from this podcast earlier episode. So make sure that you check out those episodes. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and we'll see you back here soon.